our world and beyond. Space, in partnership with the European Space Agency.
For 6 volunteers, these are the last minutes of 105 days spent in an isolation module as part of an international experiment in preparation for a manned space mission to Mars.
So it's finished. 105 days of isolation.
Under constant surveillance, the all-male crew carried out 72 different experiments to gather data in readiness for a mission to Mars. All the key aspects of a long spaceship flight were simulated, barring, of course, the effects of weightlessness and solar radiation, which are more easily researched on the International Space Station.
Just doing like this. Так работает ручками профессионалы. Вот она настоящая работа ручками. Рот и ро.
Sur un plan d'un intérêt intellectuel, ça a été très intéressant, forcément.
On an intellectual level, of course, it was very interesting. We were participating in detailed research to provide interesting findings for the scientists.
On apporte quelque chose à une équipe scientifique qui va pouvoir trouver des conclusions intéressantes. Et c'est extrêmement important, à mon avis.
I think it's very important for the scientific team to support the crew by providing regular feedback on the experiments.
Des petits comptes rendus assez régulièrement.
Mit der Zeit haben wir doch mehr die Experimente geschätzt.
Over time, we started to enjoy the more complicated experiments that needed more preparation and which were more challenging. At the same time, some simple experiments that were repeated sometimes twice a day became monotonous and difficult to continue.
Samples for analysis were delivered to researchers through a hatch in the isolation module, and researchers also monitored medical data.
These are airbags containing exhalation samples. We are experimenting so as to develop an efficient, non-invasive method of diagnosing diseases at an early stage.
Scientists across Europe are calling this mission a success, although the findings have not yet been disclosed. The analysis of the data will primarily be used to prepare the next stage of the Mars 500 experiment, planned to begin in 2010 with another crew of participants.
The
experiments during the 105 days were primarily on the medical effects on the man, that is, in the psychological and physiological fields. Stress linked with cardiovascular problems, effects on the immune system, of course the cooperation and coexistence of people and dietary aspects play a large role too.
The main goal was to discover the potential limits of personal resources in the confined space. This explains the large number of physiological experiments. Nevertheless, the study targeted not just physical function and work abilities, but also the psychological state. So there were many psychophysiological experiments. How are they sleeping? How are they communicating with their fellow crew members? That is small group psychology.
Keeping the experience as authentic as possible, the video link connecting the control center to the isolation module was set with a time lapse of 20 minutes each way to simulate the time it takes for a radio signal to bounce between the Earth and Mars. The crew had to be completely self-reliant, maintaining the module and monitoring each other's health and behavior.
Ce sommeil perturbé fait en sorte
Disturbed sleep leads to changes in irritability levels. The more sleep we lost, the more irritable we became and the less perceptive to communication we became.
En tout cas, moins réceptif aux différents signaux de communication qu'on peut recevoir.
To tell the truth, there was also the fact that I was missing my wife. Obviously, that was mostly a physiological problem that everybody would understand.
Que tout le monde pourra comprendre.
Also ich denke, der schwierigste Teil,
I think the hardest part was the monotony and the constant tension. If you think about it, at the real workplace, whatever your working hours are, you can always go home at night. There are holidays, there are weekends when you can relax. And all that is simply lacking in the module.
Wo man einfach doch sich erholen kann und das fehlt einfach in dem Modul.
The study is essential for space medicine, but the research may also help us solve problems here on Earth.
We're studying a healthy man, his resourcefulness, his professional longevity, the active phase of human life. Humanity needs that knowledge to solve the issues of aging, food problems, even questions of man's interaction with his environment.
Looking back, the crew members say that those 3.5 months didn't really feel that long. They perceived the time spent in confinement as no more than a few weeks.
There were some really great times, especially when Oliver had his 29th birthday. We celebrated that, we decorated the module with balloons. Luckily, Oliver was on duty the night before, so he slept all morning. That allowed us to prepare everything for the surprise party, which went perfectly.
D'organiser un peu justement le module et puis de préparer l'anniversaire et les surprises qu'on avait à lui faire. Donc c'était parfaitement passé.
It was a great day. It was, I think, a nice change from the daily routine in isolation.
The next and final phase of research will be 5 times as long and inevitably more complicated. The research module in Moscow is being prepared to welcome another international crew for a full-scale simulation of a 250-day trip to Mars, plus 20 days on the Red Planet and another 250 days to get back to Earth.
Man wird natürlich noch eine ganze Menge dieser Studien brauchen, sowohl auf der Erde.
Of course, we still need a lot of such studies, both on Earth and under different conditions, like on the ISS, which will in any case be the first step for manned space exploration, and which is an ideal environment for the preparation of such flights. The first manned interplanetary mission is expected to take place sometime after the year 2030.